Morning Coffee with Big Al.
And Special C.
We're happy to be coming to you from Cypress Street Radio, AOC Community Media's streaming broadcast.
Yeah, look for us every day of the week. Our 8 a.m. show will start your morning off right. That's right in a good way.
Not right as in radical right. We bring you good ideas, good pastime, and who knows what else. With
a progressive flair. Our 7 p.m. stream is a great backdrop for some recap and peace of mind, a little meditation, probably something a little stronger to drink in these very weird times we're in right now. Anyway, so what?
Well, I guess the point is we're offering y'all 2 opportunities to hear us every day.
Yeah, we'll bring you and start your day off right.
Oh, yeah.
With a progressive flair. That's what we're here for. We're here to give you some reprieve from all the depression and the seriousness and the stress. And we hope that you are well, and that if you're not well, you'll get well soon, and that you'll survive this and have a really good story somewhere along the way to share with your friends and family and prodigy. And they'll say, oh, I remember when that happened. Kind of like the blackout, of the, what was it, Northeast, where all the lights went out, not in Georgia, like.
Oh yeah, that's what I was.
Illinois.
That's what immediately came to mind was Georgia.
Yeah, I know, when the lights went out. It's a good song.
Yeah.
But it was not in Georgia. It was up north, and it was a real it was a real serious thing. I mean, I don't know what brought it about. I guess they just had a grid failure.
Well, what happened was too much of a draw, and it heated up the wire. I mean, some of the long-range transmission wires. I mean, I seem to recall reading about this, and the wires got too hot and stretched, and sagged too much and grounded, and took out. I forgot where it started exactly. Which sector or whatever, but then
it started in the Northeast somewhere.
Well, yeah, it did, yeah, but it was a cascade type failure.
Catastrophic failure of the electrical grid. And I tell you what, we're not immune to having something like that happen again. I hate to say, but I worked for a utility company at one time.
Yeah.
And I have been to some of the, at least one of the grid focal points where all these wires come together, and I'm sure it's changed since I went there, because it used to be just kind of a wide open field, but days have changed, and expect that there's fences and guards and all that fun stuff,
And people building housing around it and then complaining about the wires, probably.
Oh yeah. Well, there is that thing about EMF.
Oh, yeah.
Is the electromagnetic fields. And there have been instances, I mean, Houston's your running ground. They actually had moved some of those wires, or at least the path for those wires, to a different spot because they were going to be coming so close to schools.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely the electromagnetic.
Yeah, you can feel it. It makes all the little, it used to be televisions, you'd get a little bit too close and you'd feel all the, like tingling on your shoulders and neck. And you can walk underneath those and feel that. And, I've got some animals that love it. I mean,
oh, really?
You put your animals outside and they find that terminal box, and just sleep there and be as happy as clams. But
that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, in India, some of the people like to sleep on those railroad tracks.
No, I haven't heard that.
Electric tracks.
Doesn't sound like something I would want to do.
Hey, I mean, I think it makes them feel better. As long as they get up in time when the train's coming, they'll be fine.
Yeah, that would be one of my main concerns.
It helps to do something. I mean, they put those electrodes on you when you go for physical therapy and stuff. This is like, free and easy. Just go lay down on the tracks and you get a little buzz.
Yeah, you could definitely get a buzz out of that.
Yeah.
But, speaking of buzz, I guess the newest buzz, kind of following on to your hoping everybody's healthy and all that good stuff. It appears that we've had a bit of a spike in the area.
Too much, too fast, too soon, not enough prep.
Well, and of course they're taking away everybody's freedom by making them wear a mask too.
Oh yeah, it's just that's just such a horrible thing.
Yeah, but the thing is there's a lot of
grouchy people.
Well, there's a lot of grouchy people. There's a lot of disinformation too, though.
Yeah.
And this is something that our viewers can try this at your home. But I saw this from a friend of mine, and I didn't think too much of it. I thought, well, I'll try it, But you can Google, like, say, 265 new cases.
Okay.
And then you'll probably be amazed at the results. But then you can put in another number, like type in, search 444 new cases. And it'll bring up basically the same stuff, but with a different number.
Oh, I guess they've just got it all programmed.
Well,
so they don't have to rewrite it.
Well, but what I'm saying is it's not, it's kind of suspect. I don't understand. It seems like you might get a result on one, but not the other.
Well, if you are, okay, if you put it into like the thing so that you can pull it up, and if you're a journalist and you know that the number is rising, I mean, it might be a real time saver to have that.
Well,
it's tough. It's tough being a person with the media to do that, and I could see having that for emergency response graded exercises where they put the different numbers in there, where they can just pull it up really fast and disseminate it to a public that's at threat and needs to be evacuated.
Well, I think you just need to try this yourself, and then maybe see what I'm saying, because it's like to me, it's not reliable. It's not reliable information.
Okay.
To me, I mean, maybe there's something I'm missing here, but it's like the keywords seem to be new cases. Okay. And then whatever number you put in doesn't make any difference.
Right.
Like if you want to know how many new cases, and that's when I hadn't tried it. I haven't tried some of the variations, but if
you would want to put a date and time, and then it would pull up a specific number. Whereas if you're leaving it open, it's going all over the dates and all the times that they've clocked in. And probably different places too, different hospitals, different cities. But if you defined your parameters, it's probably going to bring you in on one number. It's a moving target, so maybe not.
Well, I don't know. I may have to try some other variations with that, because it's definitely, I don't know. I would be interested.
Kind of made you question the reliability of everything. So
I would think so, yeah.
But I can see where there's good reason for it.
Well, I thought about that too, that there's different, that it's just pulling up, using the new cases for the main keywords.
Yeah, and they've got, they have what they call a boilerplate. Boilerplate, and it's information that companies might use at the end of every press release they do. That is descriptive of maybe what the company stands for, or its mission, or its tagline. but that they make a habit of including that in everything that they put out.
Kind of like with Walter Cronkite, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. And who was that other guy? Harvey.
Oh, yeah. And now for the rest of the story.
He was so cool. I really enjoyed his show.
Yeah.
I bought his jet air oven.
What?
I still have it. He started doing a promotion on this new kind of oven.
Oh, really?
That will brown your food. Browns your food, but it's super fast, like a microwave oven, but it just runs on a fan and a little bit of electricity. And it's a contained oven. It's plastic, kind of with sort of a Teflon base, I guess. So if the oil drips down, it doesn't make a big mess. But you can do all sorts of things in there.
Well,
you can actually cook eggs. You can bake cakes.
Personally, I wouldn't use anything with Teflon.
Well, you don't put the food on it.
Oh, yeah?
No, you put the food on a grill, like a little metal grill. The Teflon is just like to capture the things that fall down. So it cleans real easy, and it comes out. It's just like a thing to hold stuff and clean easy. But there's metal racks. You can put multiple racks in there, and you can put in like what do you call it? An extension that makes it open taller, so you can make a big cake.
Oh, really?
It is so cool, and it has a timer and a speed, and that's it. And a cookbook. So I like to make salmon croquettes in it without any grease. But I like to put a little on the top because that makes it brown better.
Okay.
And it's really tasty, and it's not as unhealthy for you.
Well, as far as having some kind of oil on there?
Yeah, well, usually you have to put it in oil to make it.
Depends a lot on the oil you use.
No oil is really great.
Well, I don't know if I'd subscribe to that theory either, but a soybean oil is not a good oil, particularly for men. But you take a good oil like really fresh olive oil or avocado oil or
with infused
coconut
basil
oil
or whatever.
What's that?
With infused basil. That's really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what else is happening around here in the heartland or the heart of Acadiana?
Well, I don't know a whole lot. I've been kind of quarantined.
Yeah.
Been just not very. I see more masks, but I see more people without masks too, which I guess just means more people are out with or without masks. And while it was kind of quiet for a while, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but now the roads are getting really fast, and they're still fast. And I hear people doing like what sounds like race car driving at night.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of police. I don't know what they're doing. That was kind of interesting about North Carolina, who fired some policemen for some of their banter in their cars, talking badly about other people, and so they got fired.
Well,
I think they should, but I worry about what they're going to do now that they've been called out, whether they decide they're going to be just macho and be worse or not. I don't know.
Well, they got to remember they're public servants.
Well, they were.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. That's what they need to take they need to take the responsibility of being a public servant. That's what I was, with serving the flying public.
Yes.
24 hours a day.
Everybody.
But it's a responsibility.
Unless they're a risk. unless they're a risk to themselves and others. And then you try and find them somebody who can help them to get on the right path.
Yes, to get back on track.
Yeah.
Get back on the path.
Yeah. Speaking of that and all, our early voting is in the process right now.
Yes, it is.
It started on the 20th, which was the beginning of this week. Actually, it'll be the Saturday. Week before. It'll be the week before we run this show. And it will continue on until the 4th of July. And we thought, we had heard, and it probably is still true, that the state may be taking it like a day off for 4th of July on the 3rd of July as a holiday. But that is not going to stop the voting on Friday. Even if there's nobody in the Capitol, there will be people doing the voting at the locations for early voting. And this primary vote is all the same places. I don't know. There was talk about opening someplace at Youngsville and Broussard. Maybe that went ahead. Did you hear anything about that?
I have not. I mean, I always go downtown and vote at 1010
Lafayette, 3rd floor.
Yeah.
But that place is very small and cramped. And I don't know what kind of distancing thing they're actually putting into effect. It might be interesting to just drive by and see if there's a line all the way around the block. Because
I hadn't thought about that, but I mean, it's usually, I mean, I can recall one time when I was in there and it was kind of crowded. But
when they have a big bunch, what they would do is put them in that little holding area, like a little classroom thing, and they would do a queue deal like Disney World, and they would go up and down, and you'd be shoulder to shoulder with everybody and sort of inching forward as they took people in to vote. But they can't do that now. So what I'm wondering is if they're going to be like...
I don't know. I haven't been. I was thinking about going today. But
find out what it's
about. It depends on the weather, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the perfect weather to go is when it's horrible, because then there'll be nobody there.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
I always go during the football games. Especially I go during the football games and then nobody's there because everybody seems to love football around here. Whether it's a college game or a professional game, I just make sure I go during the football game because I'm not watching
probably
it.
Probably a good idea.
Nobody's there. I mean, I just go right in, poop, vote, and leave. Hello, you know my secret.
Yeah.
So now I'll probably find some people there during the football game. So
let's see.
I see a little
sharply down.
It looks like the radio gods are responding to our talk, and it looks like there's not very many people voting because they want to vote by mail.
Yeah, which
only makes sense.
That should be an option.
Absolutely. And there's a big movement to try and make it universal and all the time, which would solve so many problems. It would maybe be costly as far as the mail, but once you do it, it's not a problem. Well,
the voter suppression this year is amazing. I mean, it's like, and I'm trying to think of where it was. I mean, I don't keep
Wisconsin,
all the details.
maybe?
Well, I was thinking North Carolina,
Georgia?
but there was some place, maybe Georgia it was, but there was some place where this is for the regular, voting day voting, but they had closed all the ballot locations except for one in a district with 620,000 voters.
Oh yeah, all the people were banging on the window trying to get in and vote. That's crazy. Crazy that they stopped them from voting.
Well, it's pure, that's pure and simple voter suppression.
Absolutely.
And, there's, I'm not a big party person one way or the other.
I know.
But there's one party that's, particularly famous for voter suppression.
Because there's not that many. It's like the 1%.
Well, people wouldn't vote for their stuff if they knew what it was about.
Well, yeah. It's like, okay, let me shoot myself in the head. Bang, big arm. I mean,
Yeah. You need to move your camera just a little bit.
Well, I could move me. How about this?
Well, you could do that a little bit more, just a tad more. Okay, that's much better.
And right, I'm at this place where I could just grab this little guy right here and say, hi, everybody.
Yeah,
hello, it's my kitty cat. This is
Amadeus. Hi to my little friend.
His name is Amadeus.
Yeah.
He has been with me since the Karen Crow floods of 2012.
Oh, yeah?
He was a tiny kitten that looked like he had all ears. He looked like an ugly rat with these huge ears. And but he has grown into a beautiful kitty. Yes, he has.
I think something may have happened to your microphone.
Yeah, he's laying on it.
Ah, okay. Well, that's fine.
It's right there. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Come on, my wire's underneath his body. There we go.
Okay.
All right. But anyway, he's a real sweetheart. Yeah, he knows it. Look at him. He just lies there. He's so sweet. So anyway, one of 3 monsters.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to I can maybe put all of them on my on our Facebook page, Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio. We can have a pet. Hey, let's have a pet show.
Yeah, we could do that.
Hey, everybody, we're going to have a pet show. We're going to invite all of you to post your pets on Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio. And then we're still trying to figure out how to do these coffee cups. Coffee coffee cups. You need to find, you need to talk to people about that. I think that is a good idea.
Yeah, so, I was kind of wanting to find, I guess maybe a printing company to make some custom COVID masks. Huh?
I didn't say that. Nothing. Yeah. You're not supposed to do any
idea for that. That would be...
any printing company. You can submit your names to Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio if you have a printing company, and you will make us a good deal on some coffee cups.
Yeah, it would be good.
Printing of coffee cups. And we'll find some plain ones. I have a whole box of like these. I have 6 whole coffee cups with nothing on them. I could probably find more.
Yeah.
I bet I could. You know what coffee cup I really like is the KRVS coffee cup that looks like a soup bowl.
Oh, really?
It's white and it just has a KD Radio Akadi, in red.
Okay.
They need to do one in blue because that's a better color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are UL, so I guess red is their favorite color.
Yeah, UL might not like...
might not like blue.
They might take...
they would really not like purple.
Huh?
They would really not like purple.
Probably not. Yeah, they'd probably take exception to that. But, yeah, I guess that's another issue. I mean, with the COVID thing, what's going to happen with the
sports
schools and all the other stuff that
they're saying they're going to have distancing, and they say that they don't have a real good grasp on the kids and how they respond because they stopped school, so they couldn't really experiment with these little guinea pig kids,
Yeah.
Instead, they're safe. Imagine that. Oh, well. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's a mess.
Well, this whole episode has been grossly mishandled.
From day one here in the United States. Now, there are some places who have had hardly any infections at all. They're smaller, but more. But still, even if they were smaller, they could have been wiped out faster if they had responded like we did.
Right.
I mean, they might be extinct now.
Yeah.
Extinction is something our generation seems to like not even see how much we're doing that's just causing a lot of problems all over different species and plants even. You know?
Yeah. Well, we haven't been good stewards.
No, we've not. I read a really interesting article about fireflies. And how the fireflies depend on taller grass for part of their existence. And we're mowing everything or spraying pesticides to kill all the bad bugs and killing these bugs in the same time. And actually, fireflies, part of the stuff that they have, the little lighting chemical that they have, has medical applications.
Really?
Yeah, that they use for something that I'll have to find that article and post it. It was very fascinating.
Sounds kind of interesting.
And there's I found a drugstore that had all sorts of interesting stuff too about, it was kind of gross, but it talked about certain other insects that are used and were used long ago for medical practices, like leeches and actually they think that there's possibly the test didn't turn out, but they think it might be because they didn't use enough of the worms and they didn't do it long enough. But they think that there's an application for hookworms and multiple sclerosis, which is, or maybe it's heartworms. I don't know. It's some kind of worm and leeches.
Fishing worms.
And and it's funny too, because snakes, their venom, they use the venom to save people. I remember we had that guy that had the serpentarium in Miami. It was this like a regular office building for like a medical thing, not real big, almost like the one that Robin Williams had, where it had the legs. Anyway, this had a big old serpent in front of it, like a cobra with the neck and everything. It was about 30 feet, it was there at the entrance, and it was the serpentarian. And he was well known all over the world for his blood, because he'd been bit by so many snakes that his blood was a serum to antibody for snake bites. So
I remember something about that.
Yeah, he lived right where I was born. Not in that hospital, not with the snakes, but very close.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that nature provides that we don't use very well.
Yeah. And there's a strong possibility that we have things that are very ancient within our psyche somehow, that would allow us to do things similar to like animals that know things that have never been taught to them. But we've got so much noise and so much stuff always coming at us that we are not in tune to that stuff. And there was talk during, the shutdown about people feeling more connected, with nature at least, when everything slowed down and they weren't so very just ramped up at warp speed, to get all the work done for somebody else or whatever, or for them.
Yeah, this has kind of slowed things, this whole pandemic.
Yeah, but it didn't take them much time to speed up when they opened up. And like the doctors are saying, it happened too fast, that they really need, whoever it is that are the leaders should take into account balance.
Well, I mean, to me, it would have been good from the onset to explain it nationally, to the best. I mean, of course, at that time, they didn't know as much about the particulars. I mean, this is a strange virus. I mean, it does some strange things.
Well, so
But there's two, I mean, there's some things that are pretty much, to me, formulas for this whole deal. I mean, there's a certain a rule of contagion, if you will. You know, I mean, it's like there's going to be some virus or bacteria or whatever the agent happens to be. There's going to be a factor of how contagious this particular thing is. And then there's also going to be when a person is shedding, when they're transmitting the virus, there's also what they're doing that's going to change the their expulsion of the virus. I mean, like if you're, say, working out in a gym or something like that, and you're breathing fairly heavily, you're going to be expelling more of the virus. Like if you're singing in a choir at church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if there's people...
Or yelling and screaming.
Yeah, yelling and screaming. I mean, all that stuff. I mean, and then there's going to be, how many particles per, or, how many virions or variants, depending on how
Sounds like an engineer's dream.
Well, it is basically, because that's what you're talking about. Ultimately, I mean, it's like how many variants per cubic meter are in a particular location, how long somebody is exposed to them, so thereby how much they're going to inhale or
and everybody's probably a little different too.
Well, yeah, you got that, and then you also have a consideration on how good is someone's resistance. Yeah, they're.
And on a bell-shaped curve where you have an error of possibility between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have this strata of either high or medium or low.
Well, I mean, somebody's immunological response. I mean, because this is apparently a similar virus to a common cold virus.
Right.
But I mean, it's still got a lot of things that are considerably different. But I mean, I've seen diagrams of like a restaurant where they had each individual where they were sitting when they got infected, when they show symptoms, the airflow in the restaurant, all this stuff,
Right.
And, it's like if you're transmitting and you're wearing a mask, you're going to transmit less than you would otherwise. And I think anybody with any sense could see that. And
if you wear a good enough mask, then all your drool stays inside.
Yeah. Well, it's like all these people, you're being controlled because you're wearing a mask, Well, maybe you're also taking consideration for
other people,
because I'm not totally clear. I mean, they've been saying that if you're not noticeably symptomatic, you're probably not transmitting it. And maybe that's true. Because there's a lot of stuff they hadn't figured out about this yet, but I don't know. And there are problems with masks too, because I think they do. Some of the masks reduce the blood oxygen level, and that's not good.
So when is it close to time when we get a break?
Well, I'm thinking it's getting kind of close to that myself.
Because something else that affects this virus is testing, and they want to fix that testing. So I think
if we had less testing, we'd have less cases.
Let's take a little look at all this fun stuff.
The U.S. hit a milestone that no one should be bragging about. The country recorded the most number of coronavirus cases in a single day yesterday. This comes as the Trump administration pulls funding for coronavirus testing as well. Tracy Potts has the latest from Washington.
The U.S. hit a new record overnight. More than 45,000 people were diagnosed with coronavirus Wednesday, the highest daily total since the pandemic began.
This is shocking.
23 states have seen an increase in the last 2 weeks.
We're not even testing all those individuals who have the infection.
The South and Western U.S., where states started to reopen early, are taking the biggest hits. There are record cases and hospitalizations in Florida, Arizona, and Texas. Houston could run out of ICU beds in 2 weeks. The state's governor calls it a massive outbreak. He's urging people to stay inside.
There's never a reason for you to have to leave your home unless you do need to go out.
Florida and Michigan are seeing a rise in new cases among young adults.
The kinds of people that you see go out, feel pent up, go out to a bar, go out to a crowd, and don't wear a mask.
New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, which once led the nation, are now on the decline. They're requiring visitors from the latest hotspots to quarantine for 2 weeks. It's part of a worldwide spike.
We expect to reach a total of 10 million cases within the next week.
The CDC predicts the U.S. could reach 150,000 deaths in the next month. The Trump administration is ending federal funding for 13 community test sites around the country, but say they're broadening support for testing at retail stores, pharmacies, and health centers. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
Several Secret Service agents will self-quarantine after President Trump's campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma last weekend. That's according to the Washington Post. The Secret Service would not say how many of its employees have tested positive or were quarantined, but a spokesperson says the Tulsa event has not affected the agency's ability to do its job. So far, at least 8 Trump staffers on the ground in Oklahoma are confirmed to have tested positive. At least 2 are Secret Service agents who did not attend the rally.
Travelers from COVID-19 hotspots who visit New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut will have to quarantine for 2 weeks. That's a collective decision from those states' governors. The states listed are Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Utah, and Texas. For a time yesterday, Washington State was also on that list, but Governor Inslee cleared that up.
We've been informed that Washington State was erroneously included in a list of states where New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut would require travelers to quarantine. And so we've been told to expect that to be corrected shortly.
Travelers will not be barred from entering those 3 states. They just have to quarantine. New York's governor promises consequences for violators, including fines between $2,000 and $10,000.
A House of Representatives subcommittee is taking a closer look at coronavirus in nursing homes. Nationwide, COVID-19 has caused more than 50,000 deaths linked to long-term care facilities. If you remember, our outbreak here in Washington, of course, began at a nursing home in Kirkland. The hearing will take place this afternoon with testimony from a family member of a patient, a nurse, and then also other experts will testify as well. People suffering from Alzheimer's disease and their caretakers are all facing more challenges because of the pandemic. We caught up with a couple from Auburn, Nancy and Joel. They've been tackling Nancy's Alzheimer's diagnosis using social interaction, and it's helped her a lot. But because of social distancing, those interactions are now missing. Joel says that he's seen the biggest decline in Nancy's health in the last 3 months than what he's seen over the course of 7 years. Experts say that's something that they're hearing a lot more of these days.
They're seeing a more rapid progression, through this time where, everybody is feeling more anxious and there are fewer supports.
Well, experts say that caregivers are also struggling with isolation while also taking on more caretaking roles as well. If you're a caregiver or someone living with Alzheimer's and are in need of help, we do have a list of resources listed on our website. All you have to do is text the word HELP to 206-448-4545 and we'll send you that information.
Interesting.
Do we have any more with this, or we
have a audio with Trump, his talk about what he's going to do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And what we've done with the ventilators and with the medical equipment and with testing, testing is a double-edged sword. We've tested now 25 million people. It's probably 20 million people more than anybody else. Germany's done a lot. South Korea's done a lot. They call me, they say, the job you're doing, here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests if people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. He'll recover in about 15 minutes. That's a case. Add up to it. That's a case. That's a case.
Now, and we have one more.
Oh, one more. Okay.
One more.
Making America great again.
Morning, sources close to the White House say President Trump is furious that his much-hyped campaign reboot went bust. His Saturday night rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, drawing a much smaller than expected crowd. TikTok users and fans of Korean pop music groups on Twitter saying they registered online for free tickets to the rally with no intention of actually going.
Oklahoma, where the crowd turnout was really lame, and the empty seats were there to greet a man who's probably insane. Oklahoma, the speech went horribly awry. Thanks to TikTok fans and K-pop stands, the upper deck is bluer than the sky. He'll explain he can walk down a ramp and drink water just with one hand. And when he says,
slow the testing down, please.
Saying that he doesn't care if you die, Oklahoma, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, in Oklahoma.
Oh man. Well, we'll see. This the spike that we're having right now, even though Oklahoma also has some more cases that it's not related to the arena rally yet, but we'll see.
Oh, you're saying they haven't
had enough time.
Yeah,
I don't think to show the cases. They don't think, but some people have thoughts that it can manifest itself a little bit earlier. Then it doesn't take. It's sometime within this 14-day quarantine. That by that time, the virus should show itself and also be gone.
Oh, really?
That's what I have heard.
I was thinking it took 2 or 3 or 4 days for the initial.
Maybe.
And I'm not sure about that.
But the thing is, if you get a really bad case and you're in the hospital, do you die within 14 days?
That I don't know.
See, I don't know either. I think some people have actually held on to the virus much longer, or that they are like in China and Korea, China for sure, where they've been infected and they keep testing positive, even though they don't show any signs. And so they were not allowed to go out of quarantine because they still had positive test results from the virus after months.
That I don't know. I hadn't kept up with, everything about this. Well,
there's a lot there's so much to it, Al. There really is. It's just, it's all new. It's all evolving. I mean, there was even talk very early on about how the coronavirus itself had mutated into a couple of different strains that would react differently. So, but everybody's, it's all in a learning mode. And truly the best thing that could happen is for us to find a effective vaccine that everybody can get and be done with it. But hopefully, even with that, hopefully we'll learn some lessons and have something good come of this. Well,
I mean, it's not like this hasn't been predicted for
many.
Right. Because, once again, there's a science to it.
Yeah.
And it's not, and one thing, less testing is probably not going to make it go away. I think we can safely assume that.
Oh, well, that's definitely true. I just can't imagine.
I see so much. It's like
denial.
Well, denial, but it's how do you possibly think to come up with this conclusion? It's like, where, it's like, and some people that, I just wouldn't, like medical people and, that come up, and the stuff they come up with is more of on a political line, but there's a lot of misinformation. And going all the way to the top. That's when you have such a we got to slow down this testing, this is kind of, you need to find out who's got it. And there's certain ways. It's like I have another friend that's big into horses. Like showing horses, serious stuff, and they're going to have a show this weekend. But they're very strict on the social distancing. I think they're going to have different colored wristbands for, like if you're in the same group from the same stable, y'all can hang out together, but not with somebody else. Not
with the wrong color.
Right, because, that's how stuff gets transmitted. This is not rocket science, totally. It's kind of a, it's a fairly complex formula, I think, but it's not, it's not something that can't be, you can put factors in there and you can say, okay, well, this person was exposed to, let's say out of 100 people, there's probably a certain number of them that are probably likely to be,
susceptible or infected?
Contagious is the word I'm thinking. Okay. And so if you're exposed to 100 people, how is that going to propagate from one person to another? Or how likely are you to come in contact with those, let's say 5 people out of that 100 that are contagious? It's, there's certain things that can be controlled to a fair degree. And if you can do that, then you can, like they say, flatten the curve, I think. Now I have some people that disagree with me, and they think that, everything's just too unreliable to work with, but I don't think it's that. I think there's some things that are pretty definite.
Well, it's interesting, that the culture actually has played into it with people who are more outspoken, gregarious, independent, pushing their own way as opposed to compliant society that follows the rules. You know.
Well, I mean, but see,
like Brazil had a really tough time of it. You know.
What's that?
Brazil.
Oh, really?
They're kind of wild and crazy.
Well, but I mean, when you say compliant, I mean, that's got to me, it's got kind of a negative connotation to it.
I don't mean it that way.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just telling you the connotation that I get with it, okay?
See, well, it's culture.
Well, it is a cultural thing, but, you know, if you're thinking about, you know, if, let's say the consideration, what's best for the group, you know, I mean, looking at it in I'm trying to think of the word, it escapes me right now, but there are people that have such a problem, collective, okay? Oh, that's collectivism, that's communism, that's socialism, all this stuff, you know? Well, you know, the thing is, I mean, when something I posted today, you know, brought up about, you know, I said, oh yeah, that's as bad as those people that didn't want to go along with the blackout in World War II, you know, English cities and towns and stuff like that. Because
they had their lights on, they got bombed.
Well, you know, and that's what I'm saying, not to mention everybody around them, you know, I mean, and that's, to me, that's a reasonable comparison because
yeah, it is.
You know, the
good analogy.
Well, the ICU stuff is filling up now again because of the spike, right. And that's because people are not they're transmitting it too much,
right?
And I mean, I think ultimately, and I read this article a week or two ago, and the guy was a doctor, had a pretty good background in virology and epidemiology, all that. But he said basically what's going to happen is when it gets up to 60 or 70% of the people have been exposed and, you know, had the COVID-19, then the herd immunity will start kicking in.
And it will go away like a miracle.
Well, it won't go away, but it'll slow down to a low rate. You know, it'll taper off. And and I think that's true. You know, I think that's the way it's going to work because that gets back to the basic, you know, laws of contagion or whatever. Right. And I'm not trying to say I'm an expert on it, but you know, that's what makes sense to me. But but the thing is, if we all just, you know, go to all these
parties,
meetings, and well, let's go to church and all sing in the choir and hug each other and kiss each other and, you know, go away and spread it, you know? I mean,
I've been like this like so many times with people, you know, they come up, I'm like, no.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I you're my friend, or, you know, I'm good, but let's just keep the distance.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got chastised in a store the other day for getting a little bit too close in line. I thought I was far enough, and the lady in front of me had a mask, and I had a mask, so I considered it to be a safe distance. But maybe
not everybody's comfortable with that, and I can't believe when I saw that woman who. So there's actually a warrant out for her arrest, who took her mask off and coughed on a baby on purpose.
I saw something about that. I mean, I didn't see the whole thing.
You know, that's
kind of
painful.
Somebody not running on all four upstairs.
I guess that's probably it. Old people, they get so grouchy.
Well, I guess... you know, it is kind of annoying to have to deal with this, but, you know, to me, it is a collective thing. If everybody does their little part, then it makes it better for everybody, I think.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's, even though it could be a sacrifice of my right, you know. and my rugged individualism.
Yeah, he's a real macho man.
Yeah.
Not wear a mask.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting the feeling that it's getting to be about that time.
Yeah, so we will add, okay, we got to go over our things. Okay, everybody, we're going to have a pets show on our Facebook page. Everybody get your pets and take pictures of them and post them, and we'll have pets instead of music for a while. And we'll have, you can vote on who you think is the cutest. We're not sure what's going to happen, but pets are always cute. Oh, speaking of which, there's this video, you need to look at it, about the cat that didn't want to be in the family picture. And a dog goes over and grabs the cat by the neck and pulls him over into the picture on the steps, and then puts his paw on top of him when he tries to leave. Holds it there. It's so cute. I'll have to put that on Facebook too. Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio, y'all.
Yeah.
And we're still analyzing, investigating the coffee cup. Wait, the morning coffee cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.